Hey everyone, it's Amy Stapleton from Chattables, and we are going to be holding a new writing contest soon. And we're going to ask you to be creating these interactive educational chats for our Storyteller Cafe voice app on Amazon Alexa. So I wanted to give you an overview of how I go about writing an interactive educational chat. I'm going to be doing a series of videos. So the first one will just give you an introduction. So we have found that people really enjoy interacting with the characters and learning something new, as opposed to just being able to interact in these role-playing stories. And I have come up with kind of a formula for scripting an educational chat experience, and I wanted to share with you what I'm doing because I think that works pretty well. And when you create your contest entry, then you can use some of my ideas and basically my scripting technique for that. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is choose two of the cafe characters to interact with the listener during the chat. I have found that one is not enough, two is good, and three is probably too many. Although if you really want to try to have a conversational chat, an educational discussion using three characters and a listener, you can try that. But I've been doing typically just using two. All right, and I'll get into this in a minute later, but one of them is going to be like the presenter, and the other character will just be someone to move the conversation along and to guess along with the listener, because only the presenter really understands the topic and knows which story is correct, and the other character is in the dark, just like the listener is. So after you figured out which characters you want to use, then you're going to pick a topic. So I just recently wrote an educational chat all about animals in space. And I did one specifically around the dog Laika, who was a dog that the Soviet Union put into space in the early 1950s, right after they launched Sputnik. So the other thing that I like to do is sort of hone in on a specific question or topic of interest related to that general subject. So in terms of Laika, I decided to talk about where did Laika come from. Okay, and so you'll see in a minute what we do there is then we have two versions of that particular story. Right, so we're not talking about everything to do with Laika. We're just honing in on where did she come from, and we take the real version of the story and then we create another wrong or fictionalized version of the story. All right, so what happened is Laika actually, in reality, she was a stray dog that was found on the streets of Moscow, which I think is kind of interesting. So that's going to be our real version, but only the presenter knows that that's true. Okay, so the second version we made up kind of sounds like it could be true. We try to come up with something fairly plausible. And the second version of the story about where Laika came from that I came up with is that she was actually bred from military dogs who were heroes of World War II. And if you think about it, it sounds kind of plausible because they're trying to send this dog up into space. So would you think that they'd send a dog that was bred from military dogs, or would they just send one that they picked up off the street? Okay, so those are pretty good versions of the two stories that are going to make people really think. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to go on to tell you kind of how you get started with the conversational chat and how you introduce these two different versions to the listener and to that other character. But just to reiterate, you're going to choose two characters that are going to interact with the listener for that chat. You're going to pick a topic and then focus in on one aspect of the topic that's got like kind of an interesting story related to it. Then take the real version, but then come up with another one that's fairly plausible. And again, try to focus in on something that you can talk about really briefly. It doesn't need to be long and involved. It's just you want to be able to say it in about 5 or 6 sentences. And then, you're ready to go. So stay tuned to episode 2 of this series, and you will learn more about how to create your interactive educational chat for Storyteller Cafe. Thanks.